Today we're diving into Holbrook's all-new ARMA Series, a Gen 3 paddle line that doesn't whisper, it roars. These paddles are loud, stiff, and built to hit hard with a vertically layered core that's unlike anything else on the market right now. We're talking bold design choices, real structural innovation, and a sound at contact that'll get heads turning. I've been testing 4 models: the ARMA T in carbon, the ARMA Metallic T, the ARMA Metallic X, and the ARMA S in carbon. Holbrook sent these over for review, but like always, they had zero input on what I say here. And if you end up grabbing one, you can use code MPB to save 15% when they officially launch on June 10th. So what makes these different? It's not just another foam ring or thermo shell. Holbrook fused high and low density cores vertically using a carbon bonding strip to create an upside down U construction. That combined with the perimeter foam and internal weighting delivers explosive energy return, structural feedback, and one of the loudest contact signatures I've heard, especially on the carbon fiber models, and I love it. The feel is bold, the sound is louder, and the design isn't playing it safe. So let's dig into what makes the ARMA build so different. All right, here we go. And let's start with the construction because that's where the ARMA line separates itself. At the core of each paddle is Holbrook's patent-pending dual-density core, which fuses 2 stacked layers of polypropylene honeycomb. The bottom layer uses larger 10mm cells designed to flex and rebound. The top layer uses smaller, denser 8mm cells, which stiffen the paddle and stabilize contact right under the face. These layers are bonded vertically with a carbon fiber strip, creating a unique upside-down U design that no other paddle is using today. That core is then wrapped in a full perimeter foam ring, standard for Gen 3 builds, but what's not standard is how this one plays, especially for a 14mm. The foam does what you'd expect, expands the sweet spot, adds pop, and absorbs vibration. But because of the vertical core layering, the paddle plays firmer, louder, and more direct than most other paddles in this category, and I like loud paddles. Internally, there's strategic weighting at the throat, which helps raise twist weight and reduce instability, which you can see in the X-rays. Add to that edge guards on every model and you get a frame that feels stable during play. On the surface side, you've got 2 material options: raw carbon fiber, which plays stiffer, crisper, and louder, and a metallic PET weave which softens contact slightly and adds a touch more dwell. Both feature a coarse peel-ply texture and either a PET surface or a carbon fiber surface, and that PET stands for polyethylene something, I can't pronounce it, so just Google it. The face feels gritty enough to grab the ball without over-gripping. Spin is strong, especially on topspin rolls and drives and flicks, but not elite tier. It holds its own, and we'll get into those numbers a bit later. So between the vertically layered core, the full foam wrap, the internal weighting, and the choice of face materials, you're looking at one of the most thoughtfully engineered Gen 3 platforms out there. This isn't just a different mold or graphic. Holbrook built this series to offer structure, response, and reliable power right out of the gate. Starting with the ARMA T, this was the standout in raw output. It clocked in at 56 miles per hour on serves, which falls in the 84th percentile, and 39 miles per hour on punch volleys, which falls in the 94th percentile, and generated 2,186 RPM of spin, which falls in the 44th percentile. It has a firepower score of 81, and it feels like it. Every time I stepped into drive or counter, it sent the ball deep and fast and loud. The static weight is 8.23 ounces, swing weight is 122.5, and twist weight is 6.55. You're getting a setup that doesn't require any tape or tuning to bring the heat, but I added some anyway to improve control and plow through. This is my favorite out of the lot I tested, except for the high swing weight, and add to that the tungsten I added up the neck, The swing weight has increased 2 to 3 points, which isn't good on my shoulder, but I still enjoy playing it anyway. The ARMA Metallic T shares the same shape and specs, but plays slightly softer. Serve speed dropped just a tick to 55.75 miles per hour, which falls into the 59th percentile, with 37.5 miles per hour punch volleys, which still hits the 75th percentile, and a touch more spin at 2,215 RPM, which falls into the 59th percentile. It's 8.1 ounces, 121.1 swing weight, and 6.3 twist. It's still plenty powerful, but I noticed the face felt a bit more forgiving when I didn't catch the ball perfectly. This model plays more muted, with less feedback due to the plush nature of the surface layer material. I didn't care as much for this model, but many of my friends did over the carbon, saying that it felt a bit more forgiving than the ARMA T. The ARMA Metallic X posted 54.5 miles per hour on serves, which falls into the 30th percentile, and 36.5 miles per hour on punch volleys, which falls into the 51st percentile. Spin was identical at 2,215 RPM, but the firepower score dropped to 40. That's not because it's weak, it's just more of a slow burn paddle. It's 8.2 ounces stock, swing weight is 118.15, twist weight is 6.5, and the contact point sits a bit higher. During testing, it felt solid, especially on high backhand counters, but didn't quite give that same crack or rebound off the forehand as the T models. And finally, the ARMA S. This is the control pick of the bunch. It posted 54.5 miles per hour on serves, which falls into the 30th percentile, 35.5 miles per hour on punch volleys, which hits the 26th percentile, and 2,200 RPM of spin, which falls into the 51st percentile. The upside, it's lightning fast, with a static weight of 8.03 ounces, swing weight of 110.25, which is average for standard shapes, and a twist weight of 7.15. It's the most maneuverable in the lineup and the most forgiving on mishits. So there are at least 4 distinct profiles: the ARMA T for raw power and immediate response, Metallic T if you want to tame that just a little, plus your feel, X for mass up top and backhand leverage, and S for hands, defense, and quick transitions. All right, well, that's all great and all, but how do they play? Let's talk about that, because the differences are real and they'll matter depending on how you move, hit, and reset. Starting with the ARMA X, this one feels the most balanced to me. The hybrid frame and longer 5.5-inch handle gives you just enough reach for backhand counters and drives, but it doesn't feel like a full extended shape. The sweet spot is generous, especially with the perimeter foam and dual density core, though you'll still feel it drop off if you drift too high towards the top. It plays clean and direct. You swing, it responds. No learning curve, no tuning phase. Just hit the ball and it goes. The ARMA Metallic T shares the same shape, but the PET face softens the feel slightly. The dwell is a bit more noticeable, which helps on resets and blocks. You lose just a bit of sharpness on quick volleys and drives on the attack, but the added forgiveness will be welcome for anyone who finds the carbon version too stiff or punishing. The ARMA T plays like the power paddle of the group, in my assessment. It's still elongated with a 5.75-inch handle and more mass pushed towards the upper third of the face. The ARMA T plays like the power paddle of this group, in my assessment. It's still elongated with a 5.5 to 5.75-inch handle and more mass pushed towards the upper third of the face. That weighting helps generate depth and pace, especially if you like to hit higher on the paddle. But you'll need to stay structured. This isn't something you flick around easily. In return, you get one of the most stable offensive frames in the series. Big swings, big drives, and serious put-away potential. Then there's the ARMA S. This is your control and transition model. Standard shape, wider face, and quick in hand. It gives you the highest twist weight and lowest swing weight, which translates to better forgiveness on mishits and faster recovery in hands battles. It's not as powerful as the others, but it's more responsive. If you play a reset-heavy game or just want something that stays composed under pressure, this is the easiest to pick up and trust right away. Choosing the right ARMA model comes down to how you like to play and how much paddle you want in your hands. If you want the most complete offensive setup, the ARMA T is the flagship. It offers a longer 5.75-inch handle, a well-balanced elongated frame, and the most explosive feel in the lineup. It's the model that best blends power, pop, and control, assuming you're not looking for a soft or muted touch. If you've got two hands on the paddle a lot or someone who swings with structure and likes feedback, this is the clear go-to. The ARMA Metallic T shares the same exact shape and dimensions as the Carbon T, but swaps in a PET-based metallic face. That swap tones down the stiffness just slightly. You still get that same leverage and drive shape, but with a bit more give on resets and touch shots. If you like the T's platform but want a little less bite on contact, this is the one I'd reach for. The Metallic X is for players who want weight shifted higher on the paddle. The shorter 5.5-inch handle condenses the grip and adds mass towards the face, making it the most top-loaded of the four. It's a strong choice for players who prefer upper face contact or who play with big, aggressive swings, but it's less forgiving and slower to reset at the kitchen, in my assessment. Finally, the ARMA S is the most maneuverable and forgiving model in the lineup. With a standard 16x8 shape and a slightly shorter handle, it's built for fast hands, blocks, and resets. If you're coming from a wide body or you play more of a countering and control-heavy game, the S gives you the most margin while still keeping the core ARMA feel. So whether you want raw output, balanced pressure, a softer response, or quicker hands, Holbrook built this lineup with 3 distinct shapes, each serving a different type of all-court leaning power player. The ARMA line launches at $259 for the carbon face models, the ARMA T and ARMA S, and $279 for the metallic-faced ARMA T and ARMA X. All 4 qualify for a 15% discount with code MPB when they go live on June 10th, which is a pretty good discount. That pricing puts Holbrook squarely in premium territory, and it's now playing in the same weight class as Yola, Selkirk, Gearbox, Proton, and others. And that begs the question, will this hold up? Because at this price point, it has to. Consumers aren't just buying a paddle, they're buying trust in long-term performance. And to Holbrook's credit, they've taken a step in that direction with a 1-year warranty. It covers major manufacturing defects for the original owner and applies to new paddles purchased directly or through authorized retailers. It's not bulletproof, but it's a real commitment. What you're paying for here isn't just a raw carbon face and foam wrap. Holbrook built something structurally different, which is pretty cool. The vertically fused dual density core, full edge guard integration, and clean internal weighting give these paddles a distinct identity, both in sound, performance, and feel. If you're chasing elite spin, pillowy resets, or ultra soft dwell, this is not your paddle. But if you want a Gen 3 that hits hard out of the plastic, feels crisp and intentional, and doesn't need tons of customization to get going, this is a compelling option. It's just up to Holbrook to prove it can go the distance. So to wrap it up, the Holbrook ARMA Series is loud, firm, and purpose-built for players who want structure, drive pressure, and responsiveness off the face. It's not trying to be soft, it's not here to blend in, it's here to make an impact. If you're interested in picking one up, you can use code MPB to save 15% when they launch on June 10th. Let me know in the comments which shape fits your style best, or if you have questions about how these compare to other paddles on your radar. Hit like if this helped. Subscribe if you want to stay ahead of the latest releases. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.